Good morning everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs. For mobile optimized ebooks, please install GKToday Academy app. For regular updates, please join our Telegram channel. This is the name of Telegram channel, GKToday YouTube. Now we have started a new channel, Civils Academy. So if you find it relevant, you can subscribe to it. Now let's start. Which is the first Indian state or union territory to launch a dedicated plasma bank to treat the COVID-19 patients? So it has been announced by Union Territory of Delhi, and this facility would be set up at ILBS. What is ILBS? It is Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences. So this is going to be the India's first dedicated plasma bank for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. Now recently, Maharashtra government launched Project Platina, and this is the world's largest plasma therapy trial for COVID-19. Maharashtra was also in news as recently Maharashtra government launched Chase the Virus initiative to prevent the spread of this coronavirus infection. Which state government is set to launch the Kill Corona campaign to control the spread of coronavirus? So it is an initiative started by Madhya Pradesh government. So this is a 15 days campaign which is to be carried out from 1st of July, and it will have a door-to-door survey to ensure the steps to prevent transmission of coronavirus. Now, Madhya Pradesh was also in news because of FIR Aapke Dwar initiative. So this is a first of its kind initiative where police will come at your doorsteps to register your FIR. Now, Madhya Pradesh was also in news because of Rozgar Setu initiative. This was a scheme for skilled workers to provide them employment opportunities. Madhya Pradesh was also in news because of Hamara Ghar Hamara Vidyalaya scheme. The Indian government has banned 59 Chinese apps by invoking its power under which act? So recently, Indian government banned 59 Chinese mobile apps as per the provisions of Section 69A of IT Act, that is Information Technology Act. So out of these 59 Chinese apps, TikTok was also there, and TikTok was in news as recently Kevin Mayer was appointed as CEO of TikTok. The parent company of TikTok is ByteDance. What is the theme of National Statistics Day that was celebrated on 29th of June? So the theme was based on Sustainable Development Goals 3 and 5. What is Sustainable Development Goal number 3? It is related to health, and 5 is related to gender equality. So every year on 29th of June, this day is celebrated to commemorate the birth anniversary of Professor P.C. Mahalanobis. And on this occasion, recently, former RBI Governor C. Rangarajan was conferred first Professor Mahalanobis Award for his contribution to the statistics. So this National Statistics Day is on 29th of June, while World Statistics Day is on 20th of October, and it is celebrated every 5 years. So this time it will be celebrated on 20th October 2020. Last time it was in 2015. Now apart from these, few other important days were in news. 1st July was the Doctor's Day. 1st July was also celebrated as Chartered Accountants Day, and it was also celebrated as National Postal Workers Day. So the theme for this National Doctor's Day was Lessen the Mortality of COVID-19. So 1st of July was Doctor's Day, Chartered Accountants Day, and National Postal Workers Day, while 2nd of July was World Sports Journalist Day. On the other hand, the week of 28th of June to 4th of July was celebrated as World Allergy Day. Which Union Ministry has developed a new web portal to issue the No Objection Certificate for power projects? So this web portal has been launched by Ministry of Defense, that is MOD, for the RSEE initiatives. What is RSEE? It is Research, Survey, Exploration and Exploitation. So for this RSEE activities in Indian Territorial Waters and EEZ, that is Exclusive Economic Zone, recently Ministry of Defense has launched this new web portal to provide no objection certificates for the power projects and for RSEE projects. Present Defense Minister is Rajnath Singh. Recently he was in news because of his visit to Russia on the Victory Day. So for this Victory Day parade, India also sent its contingent, and this parade held in Moscow. So this was to commemorate the Second World War victory of Russia. Chu is the first joint venture hydroelectric project between India and which country? So it is between India and Bhutan. We have already covered this. So apart from this hydroelectric project, few other hydroelectric projects were in news. First is Kohala, second one is Diamer Bhasa Dam. So these two projects are in POK, that is Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and India has raised its objections against these two projects because this is our territory which is illegally occupied by the Pakistan, and Pakistan is collaborating with China for these dam projects. Now coming back to Bhutan, so Bhutan shares its border boundary with Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, West Bengal and Sikkim. That means 4 states of our country shares border boundary with Bhutan. Answer in comment box how many states of India share border boundary with Nepal. Who has been named as India's most valuable test player of 21st century by Wisden? So recently Wisden named Ravindra Jadeja as the India's most valuable test player of 21st century. He is also named as second most valuable test player in the world. And Sri Lankan cricketer Muthaiya Muralidharan is the world's most valuable test player. Now, if we talk about few other events related to cricket, so recently ICC was in news as ICC chairperson Shashank Manohar decided to step down as the chairperson of ICC, that is International Cricket Council. The headquarters of ICC is in Dubai, and after Shashank Manohar, now Imran Khwaja took charge as the interim chairperson of this ICC. Apart from that, ICC was also in news as recently Indian umpire Nitin Menon was inducted into ICC elite panel. So this is an elite panel of umpires. Apart from that, recently Everton Weeks was in news. And he passed away recently. He was the West Indies cricketer. In addition to him, recently Claire Connor was in news. Answer in comment box who is she and why she was in news. Where is the headquarters of United Nations Population Fund? So it is in New York. And why it was in news recently? Because recently it released State of World Population 2020 report. So it is a United Nations organization and the headquarters is in New York. New York is in USA. Recently USA was in news as Iran issued arrest warrant for the US President Donald Trump, and Iran also requested Interpol to help in this context. Now a special video on this topic is already uploaded on Civils Academy channel. You can watch it if you are interested. On which day the International Asteroid Day is celebrated across the world? So it is celebrated on 30th of June. A new type of swine flu that is capable of triggering a pandemic has been discovered in which country? So it has been discovered in China, and it is G4 flu. So this G4 flu is a genetic descendant from H1N1 strain. Now China was also in news because of Mischius. Answer in comment box what is Mischius. China was also in news because of controversy in the context of Tonoshiro. So recently Japan decided to rename Tonoshiro to Tonoshiro Shinkaku. What is the name of the application launched to provide the information to the sportspersons about prohibited substances? So the name of this application is NADA India. NADA stands for National Anti-Doping Agency. So this application will provide the information to the sportspersons about prohibited substances. So at national level we have NADA, while at global level we have WADA, that is World Anti-Doping Agency, and its headquarters is in Canada. Recently Canada was in news because of FVEY. So this is an alliance which was in news recently, and it is Five Eyes Alliance. So Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand and UK are the members of this alliance. Indian Oil and NTPC Limited partnered to develop a waste to energy plant in which Indian state or union territory. So this MOU has been signed between Indian Oil, NTPC and between SDMC. What is SDMC? It is South Delhi Municipal Corporation. So the right answer is New Delhi. So this plant will be developed using gasification technology, and it will be able to process RDF, that is refuse derived fuel. Now in this context there is a term bio Mining. Please read about it. What is biomining? What is the name of first edition of Fisheries and Aquaculture newsletter that was launched recently? So the name is Matsya Sampada. So recently, Union Minister for Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Giriraj Singh, launched the first edition of Fisheries and Aquaculture newsletter, and it has been named as Matsya Sampada. Now, in the context of fishing, recently a report was released by CMFRI. What is CMFRI? It is Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. So as per this report, India's fish production has increased marginally by 2.1%. The name of this report is Annual Marine Fish Landings in India for 2019. So as per this report, Tamil Nadu is on top position in terms of fish production, and Tamil Nadu is followed by Gujarat, while Kerala is on third position. Food aggregator company Swiggy has partnered with which bank to launch its own digital wallet? So for this purpose, Swiggy partnered with ICICI Bank, and recently ICICI Bank was in news as it launched a facility of Insta loans against mutual funds. And for this facility, ICICI Bank partnered with CAMS. What is CAMS? It is Computer Aided Management Services. What is the theme of International Day of Parliamentaryism 2020? So the theme was Parliaments in a Time of Pandemic. So every year, this day is celebrated on 30th of June. 30th of June is also celebrated as Asteroid Day. Asia's first ever continuous galvanized rebar, that is CGR manufacturing facility, has been launched in which Indian state? So this has been launched in Punjab. And for this purpose, IZA, that is International Zinc Association, partnered with Hindustan Zinc Limited and Madhav KRG Group. So this is Asia's first ever CGR, that is continuous galvanized rebar, and this has been launched in Punjab. Recently, Punjab was in news as Winnie Mahajan became the first woman Chief Secretary of Punjab. She is an IAS officer. So now we are going to cover important news. Feel free to skip it at your own risk if you do not like the format. So first news is related to SBI Capital Markets Limited. So recently, Government of India approved a special liquidity scheme for NBFC and for HFC, that is Housing Finance Companies, and for non-banking finance companies. So this special liquidity facility will be provided through a special purpose vehicle in the form of a trust which has been set up by this SBI Capital Markets Limited. So it is a subsidiary of SBI. Next is related to Accelerate Vigyan. So it is a scheme for research internship and it has been launched by SERB. What is SERB? It is Science Engineering Research Board. Next is 2020 Great Immigrants. So recently, Carnegie Corporation of New York named 2 Indo-Americans in this list of 2020 Great Immigrants. And these 2 Indo-Americans are Siddharth Mukherjee and Raj Chetty. So Mr. Siddharth Mukherjee is a Pulitzer Prize winner and Mr. Raj Chetty is a professor of economics at Harvard University. So these 2 were in news because these 2 personalities or these 2 Indo-Americans were included in the list of 2020 Great Immigrants by Carnegie Corporation of New York. Next is Dream Kerala project. So this is a step by Kerala government to tap the potential of those who returned from abroad after losing their job due to COVID-19 pandemic. Now Kerala was also in news as recently Kerala Health Minister KK Selja, which is popularly known as Selja Teacher, was recently honored by United Nations. Next is Towards a Clean Energy Economy report. So this is a report by Niti Aayog, and for this purpose Niti Aayog partnered with RMI. What is RMI? It is Rocky Mountain Institute. Next is AFSPA. So AFSPA stands for Armed Forces Special Powers Act of 1958. Why it was in news? It was in news because recently government declared entire Nagaland as a disturbed area for 6 more months under this AFSPA. Next is Har Ghar Jal. So it is a scheme related to Uttar Pradesh, and recently the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister launched this Har Ghar Jal campaign at Bundelkhand. So what is the meaning of this Har Ghar Jal initiative? It means piped water supply to every household. Next is world's first online BSc degree in programming and in data science. So this has been announced by IIT Madras, and it is going to be the world's first online BSc degree in programming and data science. And recently this was launched by Union HRD Minister. Next is Red Plus initiative. So recently this Red Plus initiative was in news as Uganda became the first African country to submit the results for Red Plus to UNFCCC. What is Red Plus? It is reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. So Uganda submitted its results from Red Plus to UNFCCC. What is UNFCCC? It is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Next is Sabuja, Odisha. So it is an initiative by the state government of Odisha to increase the green cover through plantation drive. That means through tree plantation drive, the steps will be taken to increase the green cover in state of Odisha. Next is PASEX naval exercise. So recently Japan and India organized this PASEX naval exercise to promote understanding of Indian Ocean region. Next is Kopal 19. So AIMS along with the students of IIT Delhi have developed this app Kopal 19, and this will allow users to track the willing plasma donors. So first plasma bank has been launched in Union Territory of Delhi, and recently Maharashtra government launched world's biggest plasma trial scheme, and it is Platina initiative. Next is E-Kishan Dhan. So it is an initiative of HDFC Bank and it is for farmers. Next is Podhe Lagao Paryavaran Bachao. So this is an initiative of Delhi government, and the objective is to spread awareness about tree plantation and environment conservation. Next is Central Zoo Authority. Recently this CZA was in news because it has been reconstituted. The CZA is a statutory body under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Next is Professor Ranbir Singh Committee. So recently this committee was in news as MHA, that is Ministry of Home Affairs, constituted this committee to recommend criminal law reforms in our country. So this committee is going to recommend the changes that are needed in our criminal law system. Next is India's IOCL and Bangladesh Baximco LPG signed a memorandum of understanding for a joint venture company in Bangladesh. So as per this agreement, both these units are going to set up a joint venture company in Bangladesh. Next is ACIP, that is Africa Communication and Information Platform. So recently UNECA, that is United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, launched this ACIP for health and economic action. Next is USMCA, that is United States, Mexico, Canada Agreement. So it is a successor of NAFTA. What is NAFTA? It is North American Free Trade Agreement. So NAFTA was the trade agreement between USA, Mexico and Canada. Now from 1st of July, this USMCA became effective. So it is new trade agreement between these three countries, and it is also known as CUSMA and TMEC. So Canada government call it CUSMA, while Mexico call it TMEC and US call it USMCA. Next is RMRC Dibrugarh. So Dibrugarh is in Assam, and recently this RMRC, that is Regional Medical Research Center of ICMR, became the fourth laboratory in our country to isolate the strain of this coronavirus. So this became the fourth laboratory in our country. Previously, NIV Pune, CSIR's Hyderabad based CCMB and Bharat Biotech have isolated the strains. So total 4 institutions or 4 laboratories in our country have isolated the strain of coronavirus. These 4 are NIV Pune, that is National Institute of Virology in Pune. Second is CCMB. CCMB is Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, so it is associated to CSIR. Third is Bharat Biotech, which is a private company. And fourth is RMRC Dibrugarh. So this Bharat Biotech is the only private laboratory in our country which have isolated the strain of coronavirus. Next is first marine cluster of India. So it is going to be in Goa, and recently Goa government allocated land for this cluster. Next is virtual race across America. So this VRAM 2020 was in news because of Lieutenant Colonel Bharat Pannu. So recently Lieutenant Colonel Bharat Pannu successfully secured 3rd position in this virtual race across America, and therefore he became the first Indian to win a podium position in this international ultra cycling race event. Next is India-China trade in last fiscal. So recently it was in news because of a report. So as per the recent information, India's imports from China were of approximately $65 billion, while exports were of approximately $16 billion. So you can see there's a huge difference between what India import from China and what India export. So we need to work on this. We need to export more. We need to reduce our dependency of imports from China. Now, one important thing is that as compared to last year, that means in the previous year, the trade deficit, that means the difference between exports and import, was approximately $53 billion. This time it was approximately $48 billion. Again, you need not to remember these facts exactly, but you should have a rough idea about the trend. Next is Russia 2036. So recently, Russian president proposed the constitutional changes and recently these were approved. So now Russian president Mr. Putin can stay in power till 2036. Next is APEC Summit. So APEC stands for Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. So this is going to be in New Zealand in 2021. Recently it was in news because New Zealand decided that the summit will be organized virtually. The 2020 summit will be hosted by Malaysia. Next is District Administration of Mon. So it is in Nagaland. Recently it was in news as it won various Scotch awards. Next is General Qasim Soleimani. So in order to avenge the death of General Qasim Soleimani, recently Iran issued arrest warrant for US President Donald Trump. Next is G. Srinivasan. So recently IRDAI set up a 9-member panel to study the suitability of surety bonds, and this panel will be headed by G. Srinivasan. Next is Karanam Sekhar. So recently he retired as the MD and CEO of Indian Overseas Bank. Next is Weibo. So this app was in news as recently Prime Minister decided to delete his account on this Weibo. This was in the context of ban of 59 Chinese apps. Next is 10-year defense plan. So recently Australia launched this 10-year defense plan. The Prime Minister of Australia is Scott Morrison and he launched this $270 billion 10-year defense plan from 2020. Next is Nextra Data and Carlyle Group. So recently Carlyle Group, which is a US based investment group, decided to acquire the 25% in this Nextra Data. This Nextra Data is the data center business of Airtel. Next is Sanjay Dwivedi. So recently Sanjay Dwivedi was in news as he has been appointed as the Director General of IIMC. What is IIMC? It is Indian Institute of Mass Communication. Next is Professor Ratan Lal and Dr. Uma Lele. So these two were appointed as the members of International Scientific Group to offer the scientific advice and evidences for the sustainable food systems, and they will provide technical expertise for the Global Food Summit of 2021. Next is V. Suryanarayanan. So recently V. Suryanarayanan became the new MD of Chola MS General Insurance. Next is Carl Reiner. So recently legendary comedian Carl Reiner passed away. That's why he was in news. And last one is this book, Future of Higher Education, 9 Mega Trends. So recently this book was released by our Vice President, and this book has been authored by V. Pattabhi Ram. So V. Pattabhi Ram is the author of this book, while this book was released by Vice President of India. So these were the most important questions of today's quiz. Now homework for you. First is what is Quad? Second is what is APEC? And third is what is USMCA? That is United States Mexico Canada Trade Agreement. How it is different from TPP. So that was all for the day. Thank you.